Hey y'all, welcome to the Queen Effect podcast where we discuss relatable situations that occur in our everyday lives. Our goal is to create a safe space where we can learn, teach, and uplift one another. I'm Coco.
I'm Madam IJ.
And I'm Shay Monet, the Golden Goddess.
Hey y'all, I hope everybody is doing well today. I wanted to talk to you guys about some things that has been weighing a little heavy on not just myself but our community as a whole. So the other day I was reading an article, and this article was talking about a young black man who he was 19 years old, had I think like a 2-year-old daughter. But anyways, he and his friends were caught doing a robbery. And I won't like go deep into detail because it's so crazy how many different ways this situation could have been handled. But you guys know that when it comes to us as minorities, we're handled in a completely different way. But basically, when the police caught this group of teenagers committing this crime, robbing this fast food restaurant, they quietly followed them. They didn't even stop them on the scene. They quietly followed them. They threw out a device to disable the vehicle. They basically threw what was, I don't know the exact name for it, but it's like a tear gas at the car for the kids to jump out. One kid jumps out, takes off running. They shoot him twice. After shooting him, he hits the ground. They shoot him 2 more times with a rubber bullet. They have their attack dogs sick him. And then when he's taking his last breath, they call the ambulance. And as a mom, it's so sad. It's so sad to hear about that as a person in general. But as a mom, knowing that, we're raising these black children, it's so disheartening. So that's what I want to talk about. Like the things that we experience as black people and the things that, we have to teach our kids not to be afraid of the police, but to also be afraid of the police, the correct way to behave, the correct way to act.
I think it is so unjust how, as Black people, period, as Black mothers, that we have to take that extra step or that extra mile to teach our kids how to do that, like how to act. You don't see anybody else doing it. And it's sad because I have boys and they are Black. And that's one of my fears, telling them, like, police aren't bad, but I can't really say that because there are some police that are bad. The things that they do to us and how they treat us is just inhumane, period. And that's my fear when my boys do get older, even if they're not doing anything wrong. What you just said reminded me of a movie that I watched. I don't know the name of it, but I'll find out. And the Black man was a cop. It was a white man that was a cop. He was at the store with his friends and he came out, he told them, don't shoot. I'm a cop, you know, was telling him that he can go get his badge, and he still shot at the Black cop, and the Black cop fired back. So it's like, why do we have to be treated this way because of our skin color?
It's a sad reality for a lot of us black parents because no matter how much you have instilled your children with the skills they need to have to be great citizens when they are out of the home and in the streets, they can come across a bad cop. All they're going to see is the skin complexion. They're not going to see them as humans. And we have so many stories of black children, black fathers, black mothers, black people being harassed by the police and losing their lives for such minor situations. Granted, these kids were involving themselves in misdemeanor and felony crimes, but does it mean that they had to die, especially the way that they died? It's really crazy because the other ones are stopping by Burger King getting something to eat on the way to jail. And this little boy is dead. And not only is he dead, the cops now
put that charge on the other friends that are still alive. So they had to watch their friend die, and now they're being charged for murder, and they're not the ones that killed that kid. It was the cops. So where do we go from there?
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because that was the part that really blew me away. The fact that in Arizona, all you have to do is be around, if they feel like you contributed to the crime at all and a murder is caused, you get charged. These babies watched their friend die and now they're sitting in prison. And like, let's be real, if this was a set of white kids, it would have went a completely different way. They would have stopped the crime from happening before it even happened. And surely that child would be brought to justice. And surely the police officers would be held accountable. But because it's a minority, it's a different situation. It's so sad. My youngest child, I pray that she's not ever in a predicament where she has to call on the police because she's terrified of them. And she's not terrified of them because she ever like firsthand experienced something or witnessed something. But I think just the internet, YouTube, TV, you hear about these police just taking advantage of their power and their badge. And she's terrified. She's terrified. So it's just a sad reality that this is where we're at. It's like, okay, it's 2023 and we've come a long way, yes, but there's still a long way to go. And it's sad to think that we probably won't ever get the acknowledgement and the correct treatment that we should just based off of the color of our skin, based off of what we were born into. I can't, like, I get on my son when he walks out, he has his hoodie on his head. Why he can't walk around with a hoodie on his head? Johnny got a hoodie on his head. Why my son can't? Because being that my son is a black man, he's aggressive with the hoodie on his head. Johnny's cool when he's doing it. It's just, it's so sad. And I don't even know like what we could do about it at this point, how we could go about it. Even if we take it off the police, even if we go into the work industry, the workforce, black people are not making as much money as white people in the corporate world. And to be a black woman, it's not happening.
It's scary because, we're raising black children, and I have to overcome that fear with prayer when it enters my mind because I don't want my son to be in a situation where he has to face the police and it's the wrong police. Because we're taught that police are here to serve their community and protect their community. But it's like just like every other field of work, you have the good ones and you have the bad ones. And unfortunately, the bad ones are overshadowing all of the hard work that the good ones has put out. I should call the police for help and not have to be in fear of one of them being power hungry and being aggressive with me or finding ways to provoke me so that they can get charges on me and find an excuse to harm me. It's scary. It's not even just, fear being fearful for our children, but for ourselves as well. Like we're also black. It could happen to us. It could happen to any of us. Like to me, the police force is a big gang, and I'm not downplaying the good cops because I do know a lot of cops that are black. I know some that are white, and they're really good people, and they chose this line of work because they always wanted to protect people and help people. But some of your colleagues are the devil. Like, what are y'all doing about it? Giving them paid leave and then they still come back. People are getting canceled for less and they're able to just come back and continue it over and over and over again. It's crazy. It's it being 2023. It's we progress in some ways, but at the same time, this country was founded off of racism, and I don't think it's going anywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like at what point, like y'all both said, like how do you stop it when it's some bad cops out here? You can say, get the proper training, but real situations reveal real people. So it's like it doesn't matter. You can train these cops like to do this and do that. But if they're afraid because they think all black people are bad or all black people are going to shoot, so I'm going to shoot first, this is how our kids end up dead, or this is how we end up dead. You even have it where some cops, they don't even read you your rights. So for me as a community, I feel like we need to know the law. We need to know what it is. We need to know the Constitution in and out. And we don't take the time to do that, but we need to know it, because if we know our rights, then there's nothing they can do. And we just have to pray over ourselves that they do not shoot us. But when you know the law, you can read the law and say the law back to them. I seen I think it was on World Star. It was a black man, and he knew all his rights. This cop tried to do everything. He asked him for his badge. The cop was being an asshole, didn't want to give him information. And that man knew his rights. He was telling him, like, okay, you are required to give me your badge number when I ask. You are required to do certain things. Yes, that's true. But there will be a time where you are faced with just a asshole cop that doesn't give a damn, and they're gonna try you. That's why I tell my friends and family, when you are stopped by the police, what I do, I always call somebody. Or I record it so I can have it on my phone so somebody else can hear it and know what's really going on, because it's going to be their word against yours.
I mean, I do believe that knowledge is definitely power. We should know our rights. We definitely should. But I also do believe that even with knowing your rights, you have people that they take advantage of the power that they have. Let's be real. If I read my rights back to you and you're still the man with the gun in your hand and you decide to shoot me, knowing my rights means absolutely nothing. We see so many times, so many innocent people are losing their lives. So, I mean, that is valid. We do need to know our rights. We absolutely. But I don't think that that's going to stop anything. I do not believe in my heart of hearts that these people just fear us and just think we're going to do it. No, y'all know what y'all doing. You taking advantage and it's not right. And you're going to burn in hell.
They have each other's backs. They're going to clean up any mess that one of them made. Maybe they'll sacrifice one or two for the sake of maintaining an image, but their image is tainted. And it sucks because there are good cops. If something was to happen, I'm still going to call the cops to help me because that's your job. But for me to now also pray that I don't come across a bad one while I'm in need of your help. And some of them look for trouble. Like, what was that one woman that died because I think her blinker light was not working, or like one of her tail lights wasn't working? Was it Sandra? She died in prison, and it was over something as minor
I think
as,
it was Sandra Bland.
yeah, it was Sandra Bland.
Hmm.
And like, what? You couldn't have just let her know, give her a warning. I mean, maybe she knew, maybe she didn't know. Like, it turned into her having to go to jail, and then she dies. That's crazy. And you have other people from other racial backgrounds that don't have to deal with this. They don't have to worry about that. If anything, some of them even be disrespecting the cops. They want to tell you about yourself because they feel privileged to.
Hmm.
And you guys have allowed them to have that feeling versus us that's like, we have to now know all the law. We can do, there's people that are still getting killed by behaving themselves, by doing everything that they're supposed to do, and they're still getting killed because they're
Hmm.
black. Because
Simply
they're black.
because. And it's so sad because, when we have these conversations with our children, they don't understand. My young kids don't understand, like, what, but why? Why don't they like us? I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, they're so innocent. And it's just sad that we even have to have these conversations at such young ages. But it's like, it's happening every day, and it's happening to younger kids. It's happening not to the bad kids. It's happening to good kids. It's happening to adults. It's like it's happening to everybody. And it's just like we have to make them aware.
Yeah, that's the thing that I do with Royal and his brothers. I just tell them, certain things are the way they are. We can't change it. But if you're ever in a situation where you get stopped by a cop, just do what they ask. And we're going to have to pray over our kids, because, as both of my sisters said, you can do all the right things, you can know the law, you can do all of that. But if there are bad cops out here and they just want to kill us, they gonna kill us. And like, will justice ever be served? Like for the ones that were brutally killed or hurt by the cops and murdered. Being on paid leave, like IJ said, is not enough. Like they should be reprimanded. They should be convicted, just like they're trying to convict us if we were to go against the law. It should go both ways. And it does suck that your position and your badge determines what's going to happen to you. It's not fair at all. And I'm trying not to be upset about how we're getting treated as the black community when it comes to cops. But when I'm out and about, it's hard. Like if I see a cop behind me, I'm like, okay, I'm praying the whole time because you never know. You know what I'm saying? Like you never know. You might get pulled over for a traffic violation, and I don't know if that's going to be the last moment that I'm on this earth. And that is very, very sad. Something has to be done. I don't know what we can do as a community, but we got to start letting our voices be heard, and something has to be done because it's really sad. You know, most kids look up to police officers. Some children want to be a police officer. So when you're sitting here and telling your child, you don't want to tell them, don't trust the cops, but in a sense, you got to tell them, like, yeah, it's their job to protect us, but some cops are not going to do that. Some cops are not going to do the right thing. And that's the reality of it all. And that's the sad reality that we live with every day being black.
And it's so confusing for the kids, I'm sure, because we're living in a society that seems like we're progressing. I mean, you have blacks and whites mingling with each other. We're able to do things with each other, go to places with each other. So you think it's all kumbaya. And then you have to sit down and explain to your kids because of the fact that you're black, you're going to be treated differently. And they're not understanding it. It's crazy because a lot of people, I feel like, refuse to believe that it is a reality for us and love to throw in our faces that we're playing the race card, or, racism is dead. And the only reason why it's still alive is because we're the ones talking about it. But it's important for us to know facts. Like this is part of America history. It's a repetitive thing that's been happening over and over again and hasn't gone away. It may not be as barbaric as it used to be, but it's still happening. If anything, it's the same demonic spirit, just different approaches. Like it's still happening. It never died. And we can't be ignorant to that. We have to, as a whole, it's not just our community, it's the whole entire race, the whole entire people of this country that needs to stand for what is right and fight for this problem. It's a problem, and a lot of us are desensitized because we have social media and we are being exposed to these real life situations that we've only heard of. We're actually seeing them getting murdered by the police. We're seeing some of their last breath on camera. And that is scary as fuck. And you want us to still be able to show up at work and have a good, state of mind. You still want us to, you know, be able to walk into the world and act like everything's okay when the way that the world is moving should be putting us in fear. Like it's too much for a lot of us mentally and emotionally. I'm pretty sure some of you listeners have actually witnessed this firsthand or know someone that unfortunately experienced being mishandled by the police. And it's an unfortunate thing. Like I think this episode might need to have a trigger warning because it's this is real life. This is happening even as we speak. Somebody is being mistreated by the police. Somebody is planning to bury their loved ones because they were murdered by the police. They were murdered for a traffic light violation. They were murdered because they called the police to help them and they ended up becoming the victim by the hands of the police. So only God can save this country. This country is not as progressive as we think it is.
We hope that you all enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Queen Effect podcast, and we will catch you on the next episode. Follow us on our other social media platforms. You can find us on IG and Twitter under @the Queen Effect, as well as Facebook and YouTube under the Queen Effect. If there's a topic you want us to cover, or if you want to send an anonymous question for our Dear Sis segments, email us at thequeeneffect@gmail.com.